Look at these primitive monkeys, I chuckled, adjusting my command sash as our massive fleet dropped out of hyperspace just beyond the orbit of what humans called Mars. They're going to lose their minds when they see us. I am Admiral Kron, Supreme Commander of the 7th Contact Fleet of the Galactic Cooperative, and today was supposed to be another routine first contact mission. Another primitive species to welcome into our grand alliance. Another chance to show off our magnificent technology to wide-eyed, slack-jawed natives who would practically beg to join our civilization. God, I love first contact missions. Admiral, final approach vector calculated. Earth will detect our presence in approximately 3 of their minutes, reported Nav Officer Zeal, her 4 eyes focused on the holographic display. Excellent. Make sure our appearance is dramatic, I ordered with a smirk. I want these humans properly impressed before we even open communications. The bridge crew nodded in agreement. We'd all done this dance before. The Galactic Cooperative had a perfect procedure for integrating developing worlds. Step 1, shock and awe. Step 2, generous technological offerings. Step 3, membership terms that were mostly fair. We'd been monitoring Earth for decades, watching their painfully slow progression into space. Their primitive International Space Station, their clumsy rockets still using chemical propulsion, their quaint rovers crawling across Mars like insects. Our observation posts hidden throughout their solar system had cataloged every spacecraft they'd ever launched. Sir, incoming transmission from Central Command, announced Communications Officer Blix, his antenna twitching with excitement. The High Council confirms your authority to extend a Class C membership offer to Earth. Class C? That's generous for these backwater types, I remarked, running a hand through my facial tentacles. They're barely at level 2 spacefaring capacity. Science Officer Plex handed me a data tablet. Our assessment suggests they're on the verge of several technological breakthroughs. High Command believes they might be worth fast-tracking. I scrolled through the information with mild interest. Humans did seem unusually creative for a young species. Still, my fleet carried technology that would make their most advanced scientists weep with joy. Faster than light travel, matter replicators, gravity manipulation, energy shields. The kind of tech humans only dreamed about in their entertainment programs. Standard protocol. Then, I announced to my crew, let's give these humans the greatest day in their species' history. Position the fleet in a crescent formation visible from their planet. Activate all external illumination. Let's show them what real space power looks like. As our ships moved into position, I gazed at the blue-green planet on our view screen. Poor little humans. They had no idea how their world was about to change. I almost felt sorry for them. Almost. Our fleet took position near the human satellite they call Moon, arranging our ships in the traditional cooperative diamond formation. 47 vessels of varying classes, from our massive flagship Eternal Dominion to our sleek scout ships, all gleaming with external lights that made them visible even to the naked eye from Earth's surface. The sight was breathtaking, a carefully choreographed dance of technological superiority designed to inspire both awe and just a hint of healthy fear. Begin transmission on all Earth frequencies, I ordered, straightening my posture as the recording sensors activated. First impressions matter, after all. People of Earth. I began, using my most authoritative yet benevolent voice. I am Admiral Kron of the Galactic Cooperative, representing 2,738 spacefaring civilizations across this galactic arm. We come in peace and friendship to welcome you to the greater community of sentient species. Your world has been monitored and deemed ready for first contact. Rejoice, for today marks the most significant moment in your species' history. I paused dramatically, letting my words sink in. This was usually when planetary governments would start panicking, military forces would go on high alert, and civilians would flood communication channels with excitement and terror. Shall I display the Earth reaction feeds, Admiral? Asked Media Officer Trell, her fingers hovering over the console. Absolutely. I want to see their faces when they realize they're not alone in the universe. The displays lit up with images from Earth news broadcasts, social media, government channels, and I leaned forward expectantly. But instead of chaos and amazement, we saw moderate interest. No mass hysteria, no religious crises, no military scrambling, just humans going about their business, with news anchors calmly reporting on our arrival as if we were an interesting weather phenomenon. There must be some mistake, I muttered. Check the translation matrix. 20 Earth minutes later, we received our first official response, a joint message from something called the United Earth Council. Greetings, Admiral Kron and representatives of the Galactic Cooperative. We acknowledge your peaceful intentions and welcome you to our solar system. Earth is prepared to establish diplomatic relations. Please advise on your preferred protocols for further communication. That was it. No gushing gratitude. No desperate pleas for technology. No immediate surrender of sovereignty. They're playing it cool, I said, rubbing my chin tentacles thoughtfully, trying to save face. Understandable, I suppose. Let's move to phase 2. I composed our response, inviting Earth representatives to tour our flagship. We would be honored to welcome your delegation aboard the Eternal Dominion, our command vessel. There, we can discuss Earth's potential membership in our cooperative and showcase technologies your species might benefit from. The humans' reply came faster this time. We accept your generous invitation. Our delegation will arrive via shuttle in 12 hours. Additionally, we extend a reciprocal invitation for your representatives to visit orbital platform Athena, our primary space station. This exchange will foster mutual understanding between our civilizations. Officer Plex snorted, making the gill slits on his neck flutter. They want us to visit their space station? That rickety box they've been adding modules to for decades? Now, I chided, though I shared his amusement. We should humor them. It's only diplomatic. But Admiral, protested Security Chief Volks, their station is primitive. It barely qualifies as orbital habitat. What could they possibly have to show us? I waved away his concerns. It's a matter of pride for them. Let them pretend they have something worth showing off. We'll ooh and AAA appropriately, then get down to the real business of bringing them into the fold. The bridge crew shared knowing looks. We'd done this dance many times before with dozens of developing species. Always the same steps. Always the same outcome. Confirm both meetings, I ordered, and prepare the technology demonstration hall. Let's give these humans something to truly marvel at. Little did I know, the real marvel was yet to come, and it wouldn't be from our side. The human shuttle docked with our flagship with surprising precision for such primitive technology. I'd gathered my top officers in the reception bay, all wearing our ceremonial regalia. First contacts are historic occasions, after all, and the cooperative has protocols for these moments. When the airlock cycled open, 2 humans stepped aboard. The first was a tall female with dark skin and silver-streaked hair, wearing a formal blue uniform adorned with what I assumed were diplomatic insignias. Ambassador Lisa West, she announced with a slight bow, representing the United Earth Council. The second human was a broad-shouldered male with weathered features and piercing blue eyes that immediately assessed everything around him with what I recognized as a military officer's scrutiny. Admiral Jack Torres, he stated flatly, Earth Defense Force. I extended my primary arms in the cooperative's greeting gesture. Welcome aboard the Eternal Dominion. I am Admiral Kron, and these are my senior officers. We are honored to receive Earth's first delegation to the stars. Ambassador West smiled politely. The honor is mutual, Admiral. Though I should clarify, this isn't exactly our first venture to the stars. I blinked twice, confused by her statement, but decided to ignore it. Humans probably counted their primitive moon landings and robotic probes as star ventures. How quaint. "Allow me to show you the wonders of cooperative technology," I said, gesturing toward the main corridor. "I believe you'll find it quite illuminating." For the next hour, we paraded the humans through our most impressive sections. In the Matter Replication Center, Officer Plex demonstrated how we could create any object from base atomic components. "Simply scan an item," he explained, running a beam over a decorative crystal, and our systems can reproduce it down to the subatomic level. A duplicate crystal materialized in the output chamber. "Interesting," remarked Admiral Torres, examining the replica. "What's your error rate on quantum state duplication? And how do you handle entanglement preservation during the scanning process?" Plex blinked rapidly in surprise. We use a 16-phase harmonic resonator to maintain quantum coherence." The human nodded, as if this made perfect sense to him. Next, we visited the gravity manipulation bay, where training officers were walking on walls and ceilings. "Gravitational field manipulation," I explained proudly. "It allows us to create artificial gravity in any direction, or none at all." Ambassador West merely nodded, similar to our rotation sections, though more elegant in implementation. "What's your power consumption ratio?" My antenna twitched in irritation. This wasn't the wide-eyed amazement I'd expected. Were they deliberately downplaying their reactions to save face? The propulsion deck was next, where our faster-than-light drive cores pulsed with ethereal blue energy. "This is what allows us to traverse the vast distances between stars," I announced grandly. "Our hyperdrive technology can bend space-time to achieve speeds thousands of times faster than light itself." Admiral Torres peered at the drive configuration with professional interest. "Interesting approach. You're using vacuum energy manipulation rather than dimensional folding?" I stared at him. How could a human even know those terms? They were centuries away from such concepts. "You seem quite familiar with advanced physics," I said carefully. Torres shrugged. "Just a hobby." This was becoming frustrating. Throughout our entire tour, the humans maintained this maddening facade of casual interest. No gasps of wonder, no begging for technological secrets. Just polite questions that somehow always touched on surprisingly advanced concepts. During our demonstration of neural interface systems, Ambassador West asked about synaptic decay ratios during extended connection periods, a problem our own scientists had only solved 2 centuries ago. When we showed them our automated medical bay, Admiral Torres inquired about cellular reconstruction limitations during emergency trauma response using terminology that shouldn't exist in their medical vocabulary. By the time we reached the command center, my irritation had peaked. These humans were clearly putting on an act, pretending to understand technology far beyond their civilization's development stage. "Well," I said, forcing enthusiasm into my voice, "that concludes our tour. I trust you're suitably impressed with what the cooperative can offer Earth." Ambassador West smiled diplomatically. "Your ship is certainly remarkable, Admiral Kron. We appreciate you sharing these technologies with us." "Yes," added Torres with what looked suspiciously like amusement in his eyes. "We're looking forward to showing you our humble facilities tomorrow." As they departed for their shuttle, I turned to Science Officer Plex. "They're bluffing, trying to appear more advanced than they are. It's a negotiation tactic." Plex looked uncertain. Some of their questions were quite sophisticated. "They've probably rehearsed them," I insisted. "Scraped together terms from their theoretical physics without understanding the concepts. Tomorrow we'll see their true level when we visit their primitive space station." Little did I know how wrong I was. "Remind me again why we're wasting time on this diplomatic charade," I grumbled as our shuttle departed from the Eternal Dominion. We could be negotiating membership terms instead of pretending to be impressed by primitive human engineering. Science Officer Plex sat across from me, reviewing data on his tablet. "Protocol dictates reciprocal visits during first contact, Admiral." Besides, humans seem unusually sensitive about their technological achievements. Such as they are, I scoffed, gazing out the viewport at the blue-green planet below. I've seen their so-called International Space Station in our surveillance records. A haphazard collection of pressurized cans held together by hope and outdated solar panels. Security Chief Volks, who had insisted on accompanying us, checked his sidearm for the third time. Perhaps this orbital platform Athena is their newer model. Still nothing compared to even our smallest habitat rings. Our pilot's voice came over the comm system. Admiral, we're approaching the coordinates provided by Earth Command. Estimated arrival in 3 minutes. I settled back in my seat, already rehearsing the appropriate diplomatic phrases of admiration I would force myself to utter upon seeing whatever rudimentary space habitat the humans had cobbled together. That's strange, our pilot muttered. I'm detecting multiple large structures at the designated coordinates, much larger than expected. Probably sensor artifacts, Volak suggested. Their orbital environment is cluttered with debris and defunct satellites. The pilot sounded uncertain. No, sir. These are definitely artificial structures, massive ones. On screen, I ordered, and the forward viewport switched to an enhanced visual feed. What appeared before us made my primary heart skip a beat. This was no space station. This was a shipyard. A massive, sprawling industrial complex stretching for kilometers in every direction. Enormous skeletal frameworks housed what could only be vessels under construction vessels that dwarfed our shuttle and rivaled our flagship in size. What in the 7 moons of Xylos are we looking at? I whispered. Whispered. Plex was frantically working his scanner. Admiral, I'm detecting advanced alloys, massive power signatures, and weapons systems. Many weapons systems. As our shuttle drew closer, I could make out more details. The nearest vessel under construction had a sleek, predatory design, nothing like the clumsy rockets we'd observed humans using. Its hull was partially complete, revealing internal structures of mind-boggling complexity. Robotic construction units swarmed over its surface like insects, welding, assembling, and testing components. And it wasn't alone. I counted at least 7 similar vessels in various stages of completion. Sir, Plex said, his voice tight with confusion, according to my scans, these ships have defensive capabilities matching or exceeding our own Dreadnought-class vessels. Impossible, Volk snapped. Their technological level has been grossly misevaluated, Plex finished, looking pale. These aren't primitive crafts, Admiral. These are advanced warships. Our shuttle's communication system chimed. Cooperative shuttle, this is Athena Control. You are cleared to dock at Alpha 7. Ambassador West and Admiral Torres are waiting to receive you. The pilot looked back at me, clearly awaiting instructions. I nodded numbly, still trying to process what I was seeing. As we maneuvered toward the docking port, we passed close to one of the completed vessels. It was massive, at least 2 kilometers in length, with a bristling array of what were unmistakably weapon emplacements along its hull. The name TDF Prometheus was emblazoned on its side in bold human script, along with some kind of insignia showing a stylized Earth with stars surrounding it. Admiral, Plex whispered, I'm detecting antimatter containment systems, gravitational field generators, and what appears to be a faster-than-light drive core, but using a completely different approach than our technology. How is this possible? I muttered. Our observation posts have been monitoring Earth for decades. We saw nothing of this. Volks's face had hardened into a mask of professional concern. Either our intelligence is severely flawed, or they knew we were watching and deliberately concealed their true capabilities. I finished, a cold feeling settling in my stomach. Our shuttle docked with a solid clunk, and the airlock cycled open to reveal Admiral Torres waiting with a relaxed smile. Welcome to Athena Shipyard, Admiral Kron, he said casually. Sorry about the mess, we're always building something new around here. I struggled to maintain my diplomatic composure. This is unexpected, Admiral Torres. Our intelligence suggested Earth's space capabilities were more modest. Torres laughed, actually laughed, and clapped me on the shoulder. Yes, we get that a lot. Come on, let me show you around. I think you'll find our little operation interesting. As we followed him through the docking tube, I glanced at a large digital display showing what appeared to be a fleet deployment map. Dozens of ship markers were scattered throughout not just Earth's solar system, but multiple nearby star systems as well. Admiral, Plex whispered, according to my scans, the power core on that vessel we passed is running on controlled quantum singularity technology. We only theorized such applications 50 years ago. A human technician passed us, nodding respectfully. She was carrying what looked like a circuit board that, according to Plex's discrete scan, contained computing technology at least a generation beyond our own. And this is just the public-facing facility, Torres mentioned casually as we entered a massive control center overlooking the shipyard. The one we don't mind foreign delegations seeing. The implication hit me like a gravitational hammer. This wasn't their secret facility, this was what they were comfortable showing aliens. Through the enormous viewport, I watched as a completed warship detached from its berth and gracefully maneuvered away from the station. Its engines glowing with a strange purple energy our sensors couldn't properly classify. Beautiful, isn't she? Torres said, following my gaze, the Guardian class. Fast, heavily armed, excellent range. We've got about 70 of them in service now, with another 30 under construction. 70. My entire fleet had only 47 vessels of all classes combined. You seem surprised, Admiral Kron, Torres observed with a hint of amusement. Is everything all right? It was at that moment I realized our entire first contact mission had been based on a catastrophic misunderstanding. We hadn't come to uplift a promising primitive species. We had stumbled into the territory of an advanced civilization that had been silently watching us while we thought we were watching them. Ambassador West joined us in a spacious conference room overlooking the shipyard. Through the massive viewport, I watched another human battleship maneuver into position. Its engines pulsing with that strange purple energy our sensors couldn't properly identify. The sheer scale of human military production was staggering. I imagine you have questions, Admiral Kron, West said, gesturing for us to take seats around a polished table that appeared to be made from actual wood and extravagance, even by cooperative standards. That was the understatement of the galactic cycle. My mind was racing with implications, reassessments, and a growing sense that I had walked into a diplomatic situation woefully unprepared. Perhaps you could start by explaining how this, I gestured to the shipyard, escaped our notice for so long. Admiral Torres smiled. It wasn't a mocking smile, but there was unmistakable pride behind it. Evolution takes different paths on different worlds, Admiral. So does technological development. He activated a holographic display in the center of the table, technology I had assumed humans were decades away from mastering. The cooperative developed along a particular technological trajectory, Torres continued, showing a branching diagram. Your civilizations focused on comfort technologies, medical advancements, and quality of life improvements. Perfectly reasonable. The display shifted to show human history, much of which matched our records, until about 70 Earth years ago, when the timeline split into two parallel tracks. Humanity took a different path, Torres explained. Our history is marked by conflict and competition. When we looked to the stars, we did so through the lens of both exploration and defense. While you were perfecting matter replication to provide material abundance, we were developing more efficient weapons systems and defensive technologies. West added, your civilization evolved to eliminate scarcity first. Ours evolved to defend against threats first. Different priorities, different technological paths. I stared at the display, pieces falling into place. But our observation posts were detected approximately 47 years ago. Torres finished for me. Your monitoring satellites throughout our solar system weren't as stealthy as you thought. My antenna drooped in shock. You knew we were watching? Of course, West said with a slight smile. Once we detected non-terrestrial technology in our system, we had two choices: announce ourselves or observe the observers. We chose the second option. But the rockets, the International Space Station, your primitive Mars rovers, Plex began. Torres laughed. Our public space program. A useful facade that gave us cover to develop our real space capabilities in secret. Your observation posts only saw what we wanted them to see. The display shifted again, showing a complex network of human outposts and ships extending not just throughout their solar system, but into nearby star systems as well. While your probes watched our NASA launches, our actual fleet was operating in the shadows, Torres explained. We established outposts on the far side of our moon, in the asteroid belt, and eventually in neighboring star systems, all while maintaining the appearance of a species just beginning to venture beyond our planet. I felt like I'd been struck by a gravitational hammer. You've been to other stars already? West nodded. For about 30 years now. We've colonized 3 habitable planets and established mining operations in 12 systems. Plex looked like he might faint, but faster-than-light travel is one of the Cooperative's most advanced technologies. We took a different approach, Torres said. Our scientists focused on folding space, rather than moving through it at speed. Works quite well, though the power requirements are substantial. The implications were staggering. Not only had humans developed independently, but they'd taken technological paths the Cooperative had never explored, arriving at solutions we hadn't considered. So yesterday, when we showed you our technology, I began. We were being polite, West finished. Much of what you showed us, we already have equivalent or better versions of. Your matter replication is superior to ours, I'll grant you that. But your weapons technology is somewhat dated by our standards. Torres gestured to the massive battleship visible through the viewport. The Thunderchild there carries enough firepower to disable your entire fleet, Admiral. Not that we'd ever consider such action against a peaceful delegation, he added quickly. But why stay hidden? Volks demanded. If you knew about the wider galactic community, why not announce yourselves? West and Torres exchanged a look. Caution, West said simply. We detected your observation posts, but we knew nothing about your intentions or capabilities. Earth has a long history of smaller civilizations being overwhelmed by contact with larger ones. We wanted to be sure we could protect ourselves if necessary. So we built our fleet first, Torres continued, established our colonies, secured our position. And then, when you finally made contact, we were ready, West finished. I looked out at the human shipyard again, seeing it with new eyes. What I had initially registered as shocking was now becoming something else entirely: impressive. These humans, isolated on their single planet, had not only discovered the secrets of interstellar travel independently, but had taken those discoveries in directions the Cooperative had never considered. I believe, I said slowly, that I need to significantly revise my report to the Cooperative Council. Would you care for a closer look at one of our vessels, Admiral? Torres asked, seemingly oblivious to the existential crisis I was experiencing. The Valkyrie just completed her shakedown cruise and is docked for minor adjustments. What could I say? No, that I'd rather not see more evidence of how catastrophically wrong our intelligence had been. That I was still processing the fact that what we thought was humanity's entire space program was merely a public-facing charade. We would be honored, I managed to reply, my diplomatic training kicking in despite my internal turmoil. 20 minutes later, our party was aboard a sleek human shuttle heading toward one of their completed battleships. Up close, The vessel was even more impressive, a 2-kilometer behemoth of gleaming metal with sweeping lines that somehow managed to be both functional and aesthetically pleasing. The Valkyrie is our newest Perseus-class battleship, Torres explained as our shuttle maneuvered toward a docking bay. Not our largest vessel, but certainly among our most advanced. Not your largest? Plex squeaked, his scientific composure finally cracking. Torres shrugged. The carrier-class ships are about twice this size, but they're currently deployed on patrol duties along our colonial perimeter. Colonial perimeter. The casual way he dropped that phrase sent another shock through my system. These humans didn't just have a fleet, they had an interstellar empire. Our shuttle docked with barely a tremor, a testament to the precision of their technology. As we disembarked, I noticed the humans around us, technicians, officers, various personnel regarding us with curiosity but not awe. To them, we were just another alien species, nothing special. How many others had they encountered? The tour of the Valkyrie was a blur of technological revelations, each more humbling than the last. In the engine room, engineers monitored a contained quantum singularity that powered the entire vessel technology the Cooperative had only theorized. Our early fusion reactors were efficient, but the power requirements for our FEL systems demanded something more substantial, explained Chief Engineer Maya Patel, a small human female with quick, intelligent eyes. The singularity solution proved most viable, despite the containment challenges. She spoke about harnessing a black hole for power as casually as one might discuss a household appliance. In the Weapons Control Center, we observed targeting systems of frightening precision. Our main railgun battery can accelerate projectiles to approximately 30% light speed, a weapons officer named Lieutenant Ben Okoro told us proudly. Combined with our predictive AI targeting, we can hit moving objects at distances of up to 3 light minutes with 97% accuracy. Plex was frantically scanning everything, his normal scientific detachment replaced by something approaching religious awe. "Admiral," he whispered to me during a brief moment when the humans were distracted, "their artificial intelligence systems are generations beyond ours. And these energy shield configurations, they're using principles our theorists haven't even considered." The bridge of the vessel was a marvel of efficiency, no unnecessary ornamentation, just sleek workstations and holographic displays showing information I couldn't begin to interpret. The captain, a stern woman named Helena Vasquez, greeted us with professional courtesy but seemed eager to return to her duties. "We're scheduled to depart for the Centauri colonies tomorrow," she explained. "Routine patrol and supply run." "The Centauri colonies," I repeated numbly. Alpha Centauri was the nearest star system to Earth. We had preliminary surveys of it, but had never established a permanent presence there. "Yes," Torres confirmed. "Our first extrasolar settlement. Nearly 20 years old now, population about 3 million. Mostly research and development facilities, some agriculture. 3 million humans living around another star. For 20 years, and we had no idea." As we returned to the conference room aboard the station, I felt a profound sense of embarrassment washing over me. My mission to graciously welcome a developing species into the galactic community now seemed laughably condescending. "I believe," I said carefully once we were seated again, "that there has been a significant misunderstanding about Earth's place in the galactic order." Ambassador West smiled diplomatically. "No offense taken, Admiral. It's happened before." "Before? You mean we're not the first?" "Let's just say the Galactic Cooperative isn't the only interstellar organization in this part of the galaxy," Torres replied with a cryptic smile. "Though you are certainly the most organized we've encountered." Another revelation. Another humiliation. How deep did this rabbit hole go? Our entire mission was based on the assumption that humanity needed our guidance, I admitted. That your species was on the verge of interstellar capability, but required our assistance to make that final leap. Obviously, that assumption was incorrect. Spectacularly so, muttered Volex, who had remained largely silent during our tour, his security officer's mind no doubt recalculating threat assessments with each new revelation. West leaned forward, her expression kind but firm. Admiral Kron, we appreciate the Cooperative's offer of membership. But I think we both realize that the terms would need to be substantially different than what you initially planned. In other words, they knew we had come to offer them junior membership, with all the patronizing oversight that entailed. Now it was clear they would accept nothing less than full, equal status if they chose to join at all. The most embarrassing truth of all, they deserved it. You want me to say that again, High Chancellor? I asked, standing rigidly before the holographic projection of the Cooperative Council. I can repeat my assessment if there's any confusion. The 7 members of the High Council stared at me in varying states of disbelief. High Chancellor Zox, her ceremonial head crest fully extended in agitation, leaned forward. Admiral Kron, you are telling us that this single planet species that our reports indicated was barely achieving orbital stability is actually an advanced, multi-system civilization with military technology that rivals or exceeds our own. That is correct, High Chancellor, I confirmed, trying to keep the grimace off my face. Furthermore, they have been aware of our observation posts for nearly half a century and chose to conceal their true capabilities while they built up their fleet and established colonies. Councillor Drev, always the skeptic, narrowed his 6 eyes. This is absurd. How could our intelligence be so catastrophically wrong? Because the humans deliberately maintained 2 space programs, I explained for the 3rd time. A public, primitive one that our observers documented, and their actual military and colonization program conducted in secret. They are surprisingly adept at deception. I transmitted the data Plex had collected during our visit, comprehensive scans of human technology, fleet deployments, colony information. The council members reviewed it in stunned silence. This changes everything, murmured Councillor Tapp, the military strategist. Their defensive capabilities, these railguns and quantum shielding systems most troubling. On the contrary, I replied, surprising myself with my own words, I see this as an opportunity. The humans aren't hostile, merely cautious. They've expressed interest in diplomatic relations and technological exchange. Exchange, sputtered Chancellor Zox. What could they possibly offer us? Quite a lot, actually, I said, feeling a strange sense of pride on behalf of these clever humans. Their approach to faster-than-light travel is fundamentally different from ours, more efficient in some respects. Their artificial intelligence development has taken paths our scientists never considered. And their weapons technology, while concerning, offers defensive applications that could benefit the entire cooperative. I paused, gathering my courage for my final recommendation. High Chancellor, Distinguished Council, I formally recommend that Earth be offered full membership in the Galactic Cooperative, with all rights and privileges thereof. Not as a developing civilization requiring uplift, but as a peer society with unique contributions to offer. The ensuing uproar took several minutes to settle. Eventually, Chancellor Zox raised her hands for silence. This is unprecedented, Admiral. We have protocols, procedures for integrating new species. There's a natural order to these things. With respect, Chancellor, I replied, the humans have already appended that natural order. We can either recognize reality or cling to our preconceptions. The former leads to potentially valuable alliance, the latter to unnecessary tension with a civilization that, I remind you, possesses the firepower to challenge our regional supremacy. The council chambers fell silent again. I could see the calculations happening behind their eyes, political, military, economic. Very well, Chancellor Zox finally conceded. We will extend a formal offer of full membership to Earth. Admiral Kron, since you've established rapport with their leadership, you will continue to serve as our primary diplomatic envoy. 2 weeks later, I found myself in an elegant Earth establishment called a bar, sharing drinks with Admiral Torres. The liquid they called whiskey burned pleasantly as it went down. To new friendships, Torres said, raising his glass, and to proving first impressions wrong. I clinked my glass against his, a human custom I'd come to appreciate. Indeed. Though I must confess, I'm still processing how thoroughly we underestimated your species. Torres laughed. Don't feel too bad. The Rigelian Trade Consortium made the same mistake last year. Their cultural exchange delegation nearly had a collective seizure when they discovered our quantum computing facilities. I nearly choked on my drink. You've had contact with the Rigelians? And the Arcturan Alliance, Torres added casually. Nice folks, once you get past all the tentacles. A better sense of humor than the Rigelians, certainly. I shook my head in amazement. Earth wasn't just an emerging power, it was positioning itself as a galactic crossroads. A word of advice, Admiral Kron, Torres said, suddenly serious. When you file your report about Earth, you might want to include a warning to other cooperative species. What warning is that? Torres grinned. Never underestimate a species that spent most of its evolutionary history trying to kill each other. We got really good at it before we decided peace was a better option. As I departed Earth the following day, watching the blue-green planet recede on our view screens, I couldn't help but feel a profound shift in my understanding of the galaxy. The cooperative had always seen itself as the teacher, the guiding hand for developing civilizations. But perhaps now, it was our turn to learn. Set course for cooperative headquarters, I ordered my navigation officer. And update our official first contact protocols. Add a new warning classification, species appearing less advanced than they are, with Earth as primary example. The crew chuckled, and I allowed myself to join them. After all, if you can't laugh at your own colossal misjudgment, what can you laugh at?